Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of Mehlis Auctions based in Germany. We're going to have a look at their latest auction, which does contain some musical instruments. So Mehlis usually have a few auctions a year and they have quite a lot of stuff for sale, but there's always a musical instrument section. This time there's about 32 items. I think mainly seems to be violins and bowed instruments with a few things here and there, so I thought we would just have a look over it. We've actually missed out a few Mehlis auctions just because they had so few instruments it wasn't really worth looking at, but this time there are some interesting things, so we shall check it out. So this particular auction, it's quite large and it goes over a few days, but actually the musical instrument part of it finishes on the 24th of August, so bear that in mind. Buyer's premium appears to be about 23%, I think, so that's what you pay on top of the final hammer price. As I said, this is a German auction, so if you're looking to buy something and you're outside of Germany or outside of the EU or any other country, I guess, bear in mind import, export fees, shipping, all of that kind of fun stuff, and probably CITES restrictions. So yeah, only a few items in this auction, so let's just crack on and see what we've got. I'll put a link in the description as always. So let's see here. We have a violin that they're saying is French, 19th century, and it's got the Marquis de l'Air, 35.9 centimetre length back there. Quite good pictures that we can bring up here. Does look like that kind of French style instrument. I'm not against it, actually. I think it's nice enough. Quite like the scroll. €900 seems maybe a bit on the pricey side of things. But I do like these enlarged pictures, so that's quite good. So not a bad start to this auction. So not the greatest of instruments, but I think it is not too bad. So we'll see what else we have. They're saying a Baroque violin, probably from Tyrol, 18th century. Okay, 35.8 length of back. Let's see if we can check this one out. €750 to start on this. It's not super exciting so far. I wonder if we can see a shot of the neck and understand what they're saying here. I assume they're trying to say it has its original neck, maybe. Let's see if there's a graft. Yeah, it could be the original neck. I think saying it's Baroque is perhaps a little bit far-fetched, really, but transitional, perhaps. Yeah, not a massive amount to say on this, to be honest. Once again, at least the pictures are fairly interesting. €750 seems a little bit high to me, in all honesty. We've got a full-size violin with a Leopold Widalm label. It's also got a branding stamp inside, so that could be interesting. 35.4 length of back, €350 on that. Let's have a look and see what this one is. Cool looking scroll there. Interesting shape. Have a look at that neck here. Okay, interesting kind of join going on there. That's a bit strange. Let's have a look at the back and then the scroll. Their pictures kind of make everything look exactly the same, which is a bit strange. Hard to tell, really. I'm not getting massively good vibes from that, but definitely curious. Baroque viola, labelled Johann Georg Thier, 1747, 39 centimetres length of back, €1,800 on that, so it's a bit smaller size. Let's have a look at this in its full view. This I quite like. I think it might have had a bit of work done to it, but comes with a bow as well. Let's have a look at the scroll. Got some cheek patches there, so that's not ideal. Let's have a look a bit of a close-up. Looks like the arching might be quite high. You can see a kind of indication of it there. But nevertheless, interesting. 1,800 euros. Don't know. Another full-size violin, around 1950, with a note from Joseph Bitterer. Okay, 35.8 length of back. They got 1,200 euros on this. Let's have a look. I mean, looks fairly tidy, but not very exciting, to be quite honest. 1,200 euros. I mean, I guess it doesn't need too much work, or it looks like it anyway. But I don't think it's something that I would really look at. Right, full-size violin, labelled Ignatius Johann Buscher. 35.2. Okay, interesting. Quite small. 400 euros there to start on that. Let's have a look at that. Quite a funky little scroll there. Hard to tell on some of these. I'm not seeing anything super exciting in that one, I must be honest. Right, they're saying a full-size violin Italy with label Franci Celso Ravina 1982. 35.5, 1,600 euros we're on. Let's have a look. Looks in pretty good condition. Quite a neat scroll. Let's have a look at the front a bit. Yeah, it's fairly interesting. I'm not really sure about any of these kind of contemporary, possibly Italian things. That's something I'm not very knowledgeable about. Right, and another violin they're saying is Baroque, probably around 1730, with a note from Christian Donat Hopf. Okay, 35 centimetres, that's 1,200 they're saying on this. Everything seems to be fairly pricey. Okay. And neck graph there. Just have a quick look at the back. Once again, nothing super exciting, I don't think. Okay, viola in the box, probably around 1,800, labelled Jacobus Steiner. Okay, 1,600 euros, 38.5. Once again, quite a small size viola. Quite long F holes there. Interesting enough, but not really selling it to me. Quite nice wood though for the back. Interesting looking varnish and edge work. It'll be interesting to see it in person. Seeing here another Baroque violin. Don't know if they're just saying that for things which are older, because they all seem in modern setup. With a note by Johannes Chunonis. Okay. 850 euros, 34.8. Okay, that is quite small length of back there. $850. So it's not super unreasonable. but in general I think the price estimates have been fairly high in this auction. Violin, probably Mittenwald, 18th century, €850 they're giving on this. It's had a lot of repairs there. That's in a pretty bad condition. Interesting back on that. Interesting scroll. See if we can have a look at a few more images. It's definitely had a lot of work done to it for sure. Yeah, it looks like the varnish has been kind of a bit messed around with on that one. A violin by Johann Gottfried Hamm, Marktkirchen, 18th century there. Professionally restored. Wow, okay. 6,900. Wow, okay. That's getting pretty serious there. I think 35.9, it's very long. It's not a very nice looking outline in my opinion. Arching a little bit funny, the corners. I don't know. This is, I think, quite overpriced, I would say, personally. Maybe if that was the shop price, maybe. Don't know. Quite a cool scroll though, quite like it. That seems a little bit on the pricey side to me. Another violin here, we'll just ignore the Baroque part of it. With label Martino Heel in Genoa, 1703. Neck added loosely, condition in repair, €200 to start. Let's have a look. 35 centimeters. Yeah, that's a definite repair job there. Some pretty bizarre cracks going on here. Some questionable condition. Interesting looking back though. Let's see what else we can see. Quite a nice turn on the scroll there, that final turn. It's quite cool. I think that would be interesting for €200 as a project. I wouldn't want to pay much more than that. Violins, Bruno J, 1930s, €100 on that, 35.3. Interesting. Quite a nice scroll at the front. Nice, interesting F-holes. Quite a nice back on that actually. I'd say this is probably one of the more interesting violins, I think. Actually quite like this. Quite like the front of it. I think it looks interesting. Maybe it's nothing too crazy, but I think it's quite a tidily made instrument. Fairly nice looking varnish on that, so I think that's one of the better ones so far. Got a whole load of children's violins, I think, here. Don't think we need to look at that any closer. Cello here, mid 20th century. I'm thinking the same on this. I don't think it's anything that we really need to look at too closely. Yeah, it's fairly standard. Ooh, gone a bit too far. Another cello here, first half of the 20th century, €180 there to start. Once again, it's not looking like anything too spectacular. It's had a bit of a break here, I think, but I don't know, it doesn't look too bad actually. The edge work seems nice enough. Have a look at this scroll. yeah, I think that's okay, so I'm not against that. It's a viola bow here. Jürgen Geipel, €90 on that. Cello bow there, L. Eckner. Don't really think that this is anything super exciting. €90 on that as well. Violin bow, branded taut. Would be probably helpful if they had a bit of a better shot of the head as well. I suppose you can kind of zoom in a bit, but a full shot of the head would be useful. 3 violin bows, all branded Eckner. I don't think it's anything too crazy. Another 3 violin bows there. Once again, I don't think there's anything too crazy. This one, Matthias Thoma, silver mounted, I think. Looks a bit more interesting. Another violin bow, branded Frechner, €200 they've got on that. This again looks like that's silver mounted. That could be a fairly nice bow potentially. Do they have weight? 62 grams. Let's see. Another violin bow here, branded A. Thoma. Once again, silver mounted, €200. It's not unreasonable. So we've got a Praga bow here, indistinctly branded. Once again, silver mounted. €300 to start. That could be quite a nice bow actually. So a couple of bows that I think are reasonable in their prices. Whole load of bows here. Marked Zimmer. Okay, interesting. Let's have a look at the Frog, €1,000 on that. Definitely would like to look at those a bit more closely in person. Violin bow, branded Eckner again. Doesn't look too great. Whole load of violin bows again. More Eckner stuff, so I'm not sure where this is coming from, but there's a lot of them. More Eckner bows here. If anyone knows about this maker, let me know. They almost look like they might be kind of amateurs or something like that. That's probably really offensive to someone, but don't know. It looks like kind of workshop stuff that is quite variable. Some of the fits and things at the end doesn't really make a lot of sense. So, and the finish is a bit strange. So not sure about that. Right, we've got one of these kind of harp zithers, which I'm really not a fan of. Although that's a nicer one there, €80. I think that's fair. At least this one has a nice kind of column and things, so that's pretty good. Got a tenor saxophone here, Chinese one, €80. So it's good to see something other than violins. Don't think we're looking at anything too crazy there. Alto saxophone, B&S, Mark Nikirkin, €80 on that. I think that's probably a bit nicer than the other one. Okay, interesting. It's a curious little thing. Kind of music staff. I'm trying to actually realise what that description is trying to say, really. Let's see if we can translate it all. I'm not sure at the moment. €240 on that. Interesting looking design. Still not 100% exactly sure. Some kind of baton of some kind, I don't know. It seems a bit too intense for a conductor's baton, but maybe of a marching band or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Interesting in any case. From the Moseland Singers Circle. Okay, interesting. Right, let's have a look at this. This is a curious looking one. A pneumatic piano with 70 wheels. Okay. Pianola Thermodist Metro style brand in New York. Bellows that can be operated via foot pedal. So it's like a kind of pump organ type thing. €850 selling on that. That seems fairly optimistic, unless it's something that's really popular. I'm not really convinced. And I think that is basically it. That is the end of the Mehlis musical instrument section. Actually fairly interesting auction, better than the last few ones in any case. A couple of interesting instruments here and there that I think are worth looking at a bit more closely. I quite like this violin, Bruno J. Rougemer, or however you pronounce that. A few other interesting things here and there. Overall, I think the estimates are a bit high, but not a bad little auction, and not too many items, which is good and saves us spending 2 hours looking at things. So, as I said before, link will be in the description. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.